Get ready to transform your homemaking with some Proverbs 31 wisdom. Here are 5 practical tips to incorporate timeless and wise biblical teaching into our everyday homemaking. Tip number 1, early rising. Proverbs 31:15 mentions that a virtuous woman rises while it is still night. This emphasizes the importance of starting our day early, especially to maximize productivities. There are some things that just require a little bit of quiet and a whole lot of attention to get done. And as mamas really know, sometimes with children, it's not that simple. But that's okay though. This is why we wake up before our families. The Proverbs 31 woman rises up early and gets her things done early, as should we, because by the time our children wake up, we will have spent time with the Lord, filled our cup, and done our other goals for the day. Hopefully. But at the end of the day, there's no denying that waking up early does something to our mindset. It causes us to be more productive when we get up while everything is still still and quiet. Whether you're working out or writing a book, waking up early is the way to go. For my night owls, I know that it's not always easy because you have the most energy in the evening. But suppose you wake up a little bit earlier anyway and just do those things that don't require much mental energy. So that way, when your children go down for the night, if you have children, you can work on those heavy duty goals in your life. But in the morning, those hours of peace and quiet, maybe you want to spend time with the Lord, journal, work on your hobby, read a book, anything that you can do that doesn't require more energy. For my night owls, suggest you do it at this time. But I still recommend that everybody can wake up a little bit before their family. It is so peaceful once you begin to do it. It has been a total game changer for me. I know everybody's early definition is a little bit different, but at least 1 to 2 hours before your family is key for accomplishing those goals. Not to mention, you create an early morning routine that incorporates self-care as well when the day seems to be running a bit faster than we are. Proverbs 31:16 speaks about the virtuous woman's willingness to acquire fields and plant vineyards. Now, although we may not be acquiring fields these days, or maybe we are, I have no idea, but you can invest in some skills that will better our households. Skills such as cooking, cleaning, mending, gardening, and even budgeting are essential and crucial skills that our household can benefit of. When we learn to not be wasteful with money and hem our children's clothes, we're helping our household, and that is super important when becoming a virtuous woman. Next up, financial planning. Oh yes, you knew this one was coming. Proverbs 31 and verse 18 talks about the virtuous woman's ability to assess her merchandise as profitable. This is super important when it comes to budgeting and financial planning. Not only that, but I would like to point out here that the virtuous woman was actually an entrepreneur. And if you're a woman and you're an entrepreneur, don't feel bad about this. It's not necessarily always a masculine quality. If you know how to use your entrepreneurism, is that a word? To further help your household, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nobody's asking you to be a macho man and compete with your husband head on, but you can use those entrepreneurial skills to get your family further as a whole. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of women who happen to be a little bit entrepreneurial can tend to feel a lot of pressure to tone that down because it's not exactly known as a traditional feminine trait. However, the Bible clearly states that this virtuous woman was getting it, being an entrepreneur. Now, I'm not talking about being a boss babe or whatever that may entail, because we all know God is the boss, Jesus is Lord, and we are his servants. However, I am saying that God gave you this passion, this burning desire and willingness, and entrepreneurial mindset for a reason. It is a gift for you to use to bring him glory, and don't feel shy about it or ashamed or try to tone it down. Learn how to use it in a way that's not competitive or aggressive, and you can use this as a gift from God to the world to show God's glory and goodness and mercy and all of that. So that's just a side note. Now back to the budgeting. When we manage our finances smartly, we're actually managing the Lord's finances. Everything is His. We are just stewards of it. So if that's the case, let's not be wasteful with our money. I do have some videos on budgeting if you are interested in that. But be sure that we keep the unnecessary spending to a minimum and remember whose money it actually is. And that also being said, do not forget to tithe. Even if you're a one-income household like I am, please subscribe and watch the videos. At the end of the day, you need to still tithe because, as I said, the money is the Lord's and not ours. And praise be to God, the Lord is asking for 10% rather than 90% because it's all His anyway, right? We serve such a graceful and merciful Lord. Importance of tithing is indescribable, and it is of utmost importance. Check out Malachi 3:10 if you must know that though we are not to test the Lord with this one area, the Lord Himself says, test me and see. So go on and test Him and start tithing, and you shall see some massive breakthroughs in your life. Start tithing and watch what happens. In addition to tithing, the Proverbs 31 woman actually does charitable acts and also gives as well. Proverbs 31 verse 20 talks about the virtuous woman expanding her hands to the poor. We are also to help people in any way, shape, or form that we can. Even it might not be financial, but anything that we can do to help others is a wonderful and virtuous trait. Another thing a virtuous woman does is manage her time wisely. Proverbs 31 verse 27 mentions that the virtuous woman does not eat the bread of idleness. If there were phones back there, I'm sure she wouldn't be going around scrolling through social media and wasting precious time on nonsense. Of course, there's a time to wind down and veg out, but again, a time, not the whole day. So set a crucial time limit and stick to it. Set some boundaries around those devices. Don't use it until the start of a certain time in the day. Maybe you don't want to use it 1 or 2 hours after waking. Maybe don't use it 1 or 2 hours before waking. Maybe don't use it around your children. Whatever boundaries you might want to have with that. As a side note, not using your device at least 2 hours before sleeping promotes healthier sleeps. And not using your device 2 hours upon waking promotes productivity. And not using your device around children helps them to feel more loved and included and valued and involved. I'm not trying to shame anyone or anything like that. You do what you gotta do. I'm just pointing out that certain times there should be a no phone zone, a no phone time, whatever your family needs to do. Not only that, it will show your example for your children, however old they may be, that when it's time to use those phones, there are boundaries, and our phones are not our idols, because that's another thing. That's a whole nother topic for another video. But we are to do our wise time management. Now I say this from a passion point in my life. Before I had children, and even though I was working full-time on my off days, I would seriously watch over 10 hours of television. I used to play games on my phone, on the computer, for hours on end. It was a big time waster. By God's grace, the Lord has delivered me from that, and that's why I'm so passionate about time management. It is crucial. It is key. I still scroll here and there. However, a focused time. And by the way, if you take those time to scroll and have a set moment, they will feel even sweeter when you do, if you are following positive people. Because any people, including me, that cause you to feel away whenever you see them on your feed, mute them, delete them, whatever you have to do. Protect your peace, sis. When it comes to time management though, it is important for you to do whatever you feel comfortable, whether it's a routine, a schedule, a rhythm, whatever the case may be. I'm more of a type A, type schedule type person, so I thrive best in that. However, I am trying to take on less and slow down a little bit more. I feel more convicted to do that more and more lately, but whatever works for you is the best key. Just make sure you have some sort of structure to your day so you can make sure you're managing your time wisely and effectively. In addition to that, be sure to have priorities, values, so that way when other things try to take your time and attention, you can smartly say no, because you know that these are not your priorities. If God has given you a project to do, you know that is your focus. Even homemaking, that is a ministry. As you know, one of the main focuses of this channel is building up our homes for the glory and honor of the Lord. So that is very important. Just remember that we do have our ministries. If you're not sure, pray and ask God, and He will surely reveal it to you. Now Now, with all that being said, there's so much more we can get into. Be on the lookout for a part 2 to this video, and turn on your notification bells and subscribe so you do not miss that. But in the meantime, if you want to know more about biblical homemaking and things that you could do today, check out this video here for some practical tips that you can apply, and I'll see you there right now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, to God be the glory. Bye.